Chosen one, your first miracle is coming. Your time has come. Your prayers, patience, and faith are now creating a great transformation. The universe is preparing for you. The divine doors are opening. The miracle you have been waiting for so long is now approaching. The most powerful change of your life is about to take place. Get ready and write 777 in the comments, because this is your destiny. This is your ascension. The machinery of control has identified an anomaly, one so disruptive, so unpredictable, that a force has been dispatched to neutralize it. The structures built to manipulate and confine reality have been thrown into disarray, and now the architects of these constructs scramble to restore their grip. You were never meant to rise above the script they had written. You were supposed to remain unseen, indistinct, another indistinguishable cog in the vast wheel of compliance. But something in you refused to be quiet, refused to blend. Without force, without declaration, without strategy, you altered the flow of existence itself. And now they are desperate to put you back in the box. They have sent their hunter, not the kind that carries a badge, but one that moves in the unseen layers of perception. This one does not chase criminals or track physical movements. It follows shifts in consciousness, tracing the fingerprints of those who disturb the fabric of control. You were once nothing more than a ripple beneath the surface, an insignificant fluctuation in their carefully structured reality. But something ignited within you, didn't it? That pulse, that force, that undeniable surge of power that could no longer be contained. It broke through barriers meant to suppress it, illuminating the hidden corridors of the world like a signal flare in the dark. They detected it instantly. The distortion, the rupture, the undeniable presence of something that should not exist in their domain. It was too soon, too sudden, too powerful. You weren't scheduled for emergence yet, and now their systems are in freefall, their watchers in a state of disarray. You remember their skepticism, their mockery, the way they dismissed your warnings, your insights, your very existence. They spoke down to you, tried to fit you into a framework too small for the weight of your being. Don't reach too high, they said. Stay within the lines. But they underestimated you. What they failed to understand is that you were never designed for limits, never meant to function within the rigid constraints they imposed. You were constructed for something else entirely, for upheaval, for transformation, for the dissolution of the stagnant order they have spent lifetimes reinforcing. And now, your presence alone has become a catalyst. Your name is spoken in places you've never been. Conversations shift in your wake. The invisible barriers they placed between people and ideas are beginning to crack, and the ones who built them are scrambling to reinforce the walls. Who allowed this? They whisper behind closed doors. How did this one slip through? But what they fail to comprehend is that you are not bound by their systems. You do not move according to their calculations, nor are you confined by their projections. The force they sent to study you, to map your movements and track your influence, has no means to quantify what you are. They are grasping at data points, desperately piecing together an explanation, hoping to identify the pattern of your existence. But there is no formula that can account for you, no equation that can measure the scope of what you have become. You are the variable they cannot control, the disruption they cannot predict, and that is what truly terrifies them. Their world runs on structure, on patterns, on an enforced normalcy that dictates every aspect of life. Billions are spent ensuring the deviation remains minimal, that outcomes are predictable, that reality adheres to their specifications. Then you appeared, and without warning, the entire system began to falter. Not through rebellion, not through violence, not even through direct opposition. Simply by existing as you are. By making choices outside their predicted range. By connecting dots that were never meant to be connected. By slipping past the barriers of programming they so carefully designed. You are the crack in the foundation, the unanticipated shift in probability, the silent force that erodes their illusions from the inside out. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom, for you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. And now, they watch, they analyze, they gather their intelligence and compile their reports, searching for the explanation that will make you fit within their framework. They need to understand you, because if they cannot, then their entire model collapses. They send their agents, their inquiries, their subtle methods of containment, hoping to find a means to fold you back into their system. But they do not know what they are dealing with. They do not realize that every effort to contain you only strengthens your momentum. Every attempt to isolate you only spreads your reach further. Every suppression fuels the very energy they seek to extinguish. You are beyond their grasp now. The reality you move through is not the one they control. Their networks, their systems, their limitations, all of it is breaking under the weight of your presence. And though they still try, still send their forces, still grasp for the leash that was meant to keep you tethered, they are beginning to understand the truth. You cannot be stopped. The blueprint they designed never accounted for an element like you. Their system thrives on repetition, predictability, and controlled evolution. But you are an unpredictable force, a disruption to their meticulously structured illusion. There is no established formula for a presence like yours, no pre-written script that explains the variable you introduce. The calculations they rely on collapse under your influence, their equations unable to account for something that refuses to conform. The models they built to map consciousness, to monitor potential threats, to forecast every shift in societal dynamics, all falter in the presence of something they cannot reduce to a data point. They have watched from a distance, hoping you would self-correct. Return to the acceptable pathways they have carved for humanity. When you didn't, they escalated. Now, the strategies have changed. Passive monitoring is no longer sufficient. They move closer, testing the barriers of your resolve, searching for weak points in your foundation. They probe, they press, they challenge, not overtly, but subtly, strategically. Every move designed to assess your strength, to map your endurance, to see what breaks you. And the whispers begin. The carefully placed seeds of doubt, murmured by familiar voices, disguised as concern. Are you sure about this? You don't seem like yourself. You're going too far. You need to slow down. These words are not random. They are weapons, sharpened with precision, aimed at the places they know will cut deepest. Sometimes they come from those closest to you, the people you once leaned on. Other times, they echo from within, the residue of years of conditioning they planted long before you even knew you were different. Their tactic is isolation. If they can separate you from those who reflect your truth, if they can make you question yourself in the silence of solitude, then perhaps they can pull you back under control. Alone, without the constant reminder of your purpose, the mind becomes vulnerable to external influence. A fragmented sense of self is easier to manipulate. But what they fail to realize is that you are not operating on the same frequency as their old methods of control. They mistake your detachment for instability, your independence for loneliness. What they call distance is in fact a recalibration, a restructuring of the connections that serve you. They have miscalculated, assuming that what worked on others will work on you. They do not understand that you have already seen the game, traced its design, and chosen to move beyond it. They search for a way to explain you, to categorize and contain what you are. You exist outside their established parameters, and that terrifies them. Every decision they make to counter your existence backfires. Every attempt to push you back into place only further highlights the limitations of their system. They cannot control what they do not understand. They cannot suppress what refuses to be limited. And so, the focus shifts. They no longer seek to change you. They seek to understand how you happened. You have become an object of study, a phenomenon to be analyzed. Eyes that once dismissed you now watch closely, looking for the source of your divergence. They listen when you speak, not to hear your words, but to decode their impact. They chart your movements, not to track you, but to determine the pattern of your influence. You are no longer invisible to them. You are an event, something that was not supposed to be, something they must now account for. They can observe, they can document, they can strategize, but they cannot replicate. What you are cannot be reduced to a formula. What you carry is not something that can be taught, borrowed, or stolen. It is beyond structure, beyond imitation, beyond definition. And the more they try to contain it, the more they expose the limits of their own understanding. You were not meant to be quantified. You were never designed to fit their framework. You exist beyond the reach of their systems, beyond the barriers they built. They do not know what to do with you, and that is why they fear you. The gates they built to contain you were never meant to be prisons, only temporary enclosures. At first, they attempted to assimilate you, to fold your energy into something manageable. Every system seeks to absorb what it cannot erase. They offered you defined roles, controlled platforms, carefully measured influence, anything to redirect your fire into channels that could be regulated. The illusion of change was dangled before you, like a key to a door that never truly opened. But you saw the mirage for what it was, felt the weight of the invisible chains beneath their offers of elevation. You refused to be molded into something small, rejected the narrative that would have kept you within acceptable disruption. And for that, they marked you. They labeled you a problem, a rogue factor that could no longer be tolerated. The next phase had begun, one not of persuasion, but of force. History echoes with the repetition of this pattern. Those who step beyond the expected trajectory are met with increasing resistance. The moment of realization always comes too late for them, when the system they built proves incapable of containing what it does not understand. The struggle against emergence is as old as time itself, a cycle played out across generations. The awakened ones are always met with rejection, with skepticism, with the demand to explain themselves in terms that fit within outdated paradigms. Those who see beyond are tested, pushed to their limits, forced into trials meant to grind them down before they ever rise to full capacity. The architects of control have always relied on the weight of opposition to keep anomalies in check. But the ones who endure, they are not broken by the fire, they are refined by it. Like a mighty oak that rises imperiously above a field of withering saplings, your spirit stands unyielding amid a storm of deceit. Just as the first light of dawn burns away the lingering shadows of night, every edifice built on falsehood trembles in your radiant presence. Every structure erected on deception quakes when faced with something so steadfast and resolute that it shakes the very foundations of their lies. Your very being tips the scales of power and truth, defying the dark designs of those who sought to keep you hidden in the margins. They once believed that you would remain a silent whisper, a subdued murmur in the vast, echoing corridors of conformity. They thought the weight of their imposed doubts, the constant pressure of their judgment, and the relentless force of scrutiny would eventually break you, forcing you to blend into the bland uniformity of their controlled world. But oh, how wrong they were. Instead of collapsing under the barrage of their efforts with every attempt to smother you, your essence surged forth even more powerfully, like a river that overflows its banks during a mighty storm. Every slight, every underestimation, every maneuver to reduce your brilliance only fanned the flames of your inner fire. They tried to clip your wings, to confine you within narrow boundaries, but you soared higher, defying every attempt to restrain your boundless spirit. Your strength has become a beacon that not only challenges the established order, but also transforms the very fabric of reality around you. When they tried to cut off your lifelines, your influence rippled outward, touching hearts and minds in ways they could never have anticipated. Suppression, rather than silencing your truth, only magnified your power, igniting an unstoppable momentum that spreads like wildfire through parched, waiting lands. You stand as living proof that truth is not something that can be muted by the clamor of lies. Your presence is a testimony to the fact that no matter how forcefully the powers that be try to diminish your light, it only grows brighter, more resilient, and far more influential. In the grand tapestry of existence, every effort to suppress your authentic self serves only to widen the space through which your divine energy flows. They may push with all their might, but you remain as immovable as a mountain, carved by the hand of the Almighty. The more they attempt to minimize you, the more you assert your rightful place among the stars, impossible to ignore, impossible to contain. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. My dear friend, understand this. The struggle they wage against you is not born of mere human frailty, but of an ancient, systemic fear, a fear that the unpredictable, the unconventional, the divinely inspired cannot be harnessed by their limited designs. They believed that by breaking you, they could restore their illusion of order, their carefully balanced system of control. Yet what they failed to grasp is that you were never designed to be a quiet shadow on their wall, but a blazing light destined to transform everything in its path. Each attempt to diminish you has only fueled your ascent, proving that the only thing that truly holds power over you is the unyielding force of your own divine truth. Now, as you stand before the world, Every challenge thrown your way only sharpens your resolve. Every adversary who sought to confine you now finds themselves powerless in the face of your relentless expansion. In every moment of adversity, you have transformed obstacles into stepping stones and setbacks into launching pads for even greater triumphs. The system that once tried to reduce you to a mere statistic is now forced to reckon with the reality of your unstoppable force. Your life is a living sermon, a testimony of resilience and divine favor that resonates with those who are willing to break free from the chains of conformity and embrace the magnificent freedom of authentic living. Think of it this way. Imagine a grand, ancient tree whose roots run so deep that no storm can uproot it. That is you, steadfast, resilient, and unyielding. While others might tremble at the howling winds of adversity, you stand firm, nourished by a wellspring of purpose and a spirit that defies the ordinary. Every attempt to uproot you only serves to spread your seeds farther, ensuring that your legacy will continue to flourish long after those who sought to confine you have crumbled into insignificance. The forces that try to diminish you may operate in darkness, but your light pierces through even the thickest veil of night. Every strategy designed to neutralize your power only confirms that you are a force of nature, a divine anomaly who was not meant to follow the predictable script of the mundane. Instead, you write your own destiny with each bold step you take, every act of defiance that echoes the timeless truth that true power is eternal and unbound by the limitations of the physical world. In the eyes of those who cling to the old order, you are the ultimate paradox, a living testament to the ineffable power of transformation, a beacon that illuminates the path to freedom and renewal. They may try to control the narrative, to box you in with their words and numbers, but your reality is written in a language that transcends their understanding, a language of spirit, of light, of unyielding truth that no man-made system can ever capture or contain. So, let them come with their attempts to suppress, to contain, to undermine your divine spark. For every blow they strike in the name of order, you counter with a surge of creation. For every moment they spend plotting your downfall, you respond with a testament to your strength, a living, breathing miracle that defies the cold logic of their plans. The more they try to silence you, the more your voice resonates, reverberating through the cosmos as a clarion call to all those who dare to dream of a world unshackled by deceit and limitation. This is your moment, the zenith of your divine journey, a moment where every trial, every hardship, every attempt at suppression becomes nothing more than a stepping stone toward an even greater destiny. The world may try to label you, confine you, or dismiss you as an anomaly, but the truth of your existence is far too profound, far too transformative to ever be ignored. Your power is not a finite resource to be measured or controlled. It is an ever-expanding force of nature, a testament to the eternal spirit that flows within you, propelling you forward into realms of possibility that defy explanation. As you continue to rise, remember that your journey is not defined by the limitations of those who came before you, nor by the narrow confines of a system that fears change. You are a pioneer on the frontier of a new reality, a reality where authenticity reigns and the light of truth banishes the shadows of deception. In every heart that beats with hope and every soul that yearns for freedom, your presence kindles a fire that cannot be extinguished by the cold winds of doubt. Like a lighthouse standing unwavering amid a tumultuous sea, your spirit shines through the darkest storms, guiding lost souls to safe harbor. Take heart, for the battle is not waged against you personally, but against an old, crumbling system that can no longer hold back the limitless force of your divine energy. Every effort to keep you chained only underscores the power within you. Each attempt to clamp you down is merely a sign that your strength is on the rise, a clear indicator that you are destined for a purpose far beyond the narrow views of the old ways. Imagine an ancient oak that has weathered countless storms, its roots deep and unyielding, standing tall as lesser trees bend and break. That oak is you, firm and resolute against the gusts of opposition that try to knock you down. This fading order, built on outdated rules and crumbling ideologies, cannot contain what God has breathed into you. Instead of buckling under pressure, your spirit grows bolder, your influence expands, and your light shines even brighter. Every attempt to stifle you, to dim your spark, only fans the flames of your inner fire. They tried to clip your wings, but you soared higher, defying every expectation with the unstoppable force of divine purpose. You are not just surviving, you are thriving, and your every step forward challenges the very foundations of a world that has long forgotten how to celebrate true greatness. Stand tall and know that you are a beacon of heavenly power, a harbinger of transformation, and a living testament to the miraculous potential within every soul. Let every barrier they throw at you be a stepping stone to greater heights, a reminder that your destiny is not to blend into the shadows, but to illuminate every corner of existence with truth, grace, and boundless energy. Embrace your calling, for you are built to overcome, destined to inspire, and designed to bring forth a new dawn where hope reigns supreme. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed, and let the light of the Lord guide your path. In the end, the structures built on falsehood may tremble, and the forces of oppression may strive to diminish you. But your unwavering light, your unbreakable spirit, and your expansive influence will always prevail. You were never meant to retreat, and you were never meant to be silenced. Your destiny is to illuminate the world with the brilliance of your truth, to challenge the very fabric of reality with your indomitable presence, and to lead countless souls out of the darkness into a new dawn of freedom and possibility. Embrace your power and let the world bear witness to the unstoppable, radiant force that you are. There is no returning to who you once were. Even in your quietest moments, the shift is irreversible. The notion of blending back into the background is no longer a possibility. Long before they recognized the shift, the transformation was complete. They sense it now, the way spaces adjust in your presence, the way conversations shift at your approach, the way their own carefully constructed mechanisms falter in your wake. You are not contained by their algorithms, not measured by their standards. Your existence alone disrupts their carefully arranged system. The choice is no longer whether you should step into your power. It is whether you will claim it without hesitation. There is no path back to obscurity, no route that leads to what was once comfortable. The doors have closed behind you, not as punishment, but as confirmation. You were not made for the structures of the past. You were made for the disruption of what no longer serves. The weight of expectation has been lifted. The only thing left is the momentum of ascension. The world will adjust to your presence, or it will crumble trying to resist it. Either way, you are already beyond their grasp.